I'm just one regular guy in a 2-car garage in suburbia. The road trip is months away, but the journey starts here. There's worse cars in the world, there's people that are way more skilled, there's a million reasons not to take on the project. It's gonna be hundreds of hours, thousands of dollars, but I have zero apprehension. Because it's just like I said with the last project. No matter what the outcome, no matter what happens, whether I make the goal or not, it will come to a point where I put down the tools, step back, and I'll walk out of here better than when I walked in. That's why we keep going.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop, welcome back to the channel. My name is Andrew. We are in my shop here in Maple Ridge, British Columbia, getting ready to start Felony, the 1968 Mustang Project. We are going to start teardown today, starting with the interior, starting with a bunch of other little bits on the car, and we're going to do some assessment, see how the rust situation is on the roof, how bad it really is, and how the floor pans look and the firewall. We're going to go through all of that in this episode. Get it torn down to a point where it's still running and driving with a stripped out interior. Gonna try and clean the chassis, clean the engine bay, get ready to pull the engine, and we'll kind of situate it in the garage where we're gonna have it for the next month while I have the powertrain out and work on the suspension and everything underneath and get the rust repair taken care of. So I am going to jump to action. We're gonna move some cars around. I'm gonna tear the interior out outside because we've got some nice weather. And I really don't want the black widows that are probably still in there crawling around my nice clean shop. I actually spent the entire day yesterday cleaning the whole floor, all the walls, cleaned off the benches as best I could. There's still some crap there from today, but I just gave everything a good once over and we're getting ready to dive into this. We got 80 days, less than 80 days to get this thing ready for power tour, and it's gonna be a thrash, but I'm gonna get it done. Also, if you haven't done so already, please jump down, hit that subscribe button, sign up for notifications and everything. Every bit of support helps this channel, helps me out, and helps out with the builds. So please do me a favor, join the crew, subscribe, and let's get to it. No way in hell not having these for this. I am not looking forward to finding all the black widows in here that are still hanging around. I don't know how to get this damn seat out. Oh, this is one of those unbolt from the bottom deals. All right, I got a fish underneath to get the bolts or the nuts for the seat undone, so I'm gonna do that for a minute. Okay. Not too many signs of spiders yet, but or mice for that matter. All right. I really don't know what people in the 60s and 70s were thinking. Like, let's do barf brown green carpet. Looks mint. I don't know how these ones work, but assuming it has to. Oh. Well, that wasn't too difficult. Ew. Really don't want to touch this, but here we are. Rust on the floor here. Pretty weak. Oh, that's fiberglass subcarpet. Okay. Now that all the dust is settled, start ripping all this junk out of the back. I really don't feel like breathing any of it in, so we're going on the respirator. On top of that, I don't want it spreading around my yard. So we're gonna bag it. It's like fiberglass fucking insulation. It's disgusting. Ugh. Quick release. That's disgusting. This is gross. There's an airsoft BB in here. There's our first hole down there. It's not terrible. Ugh. Ugh. Somehow I'm going to take off this interior panel. Looks like it's all just screws. That was easy. There's high potential that this will be disgusting. It's all metal, which is kind of cool, I guess. If you're into that sort of junk. Not terrible. Well, so far, pretty straightforward. Phillips head screws, Imperial bolts, everything's coming off fairly easily, so. '68 Mustang Ford OE sill plate, $17,000. DM me, I know what I have. Only slight damage. Okay, don't want to breathe that in. I'm just going to cut around it for All right, we're doing this one together. So this is the solution for the holes that they did in the floor. Pretty roadkill. They just kind of tech screwed some galvanized steel on the floorboards, which, yeah, whatever. It's California for you. We got some rust chilling up here. I can see one tiny hole where that screw bracket went through. It's not awful, it's not great. And there's probably gonna be rust hiding underneath here around where the holes are because of, you know, moisture will still get trapped. And all of this material has been soaked and is disgusting. So I'm sure it's gonna be pretty awful. Oh, they didn't screw it, they riveted it. Even better. Okay, well, interior is kind of out. Got a lot of cleanup to do. So I'm gonna start to
tackle that, and then yeah, catch up with you guys in a bit when we got all this stuff taken out. But I'm gonna let the camera charge for a bit and get after it. Oof. This is all wet. All of it is wet. And this is all going to be a product of leaving a car without a roof properly sealed out in the rain. Pretty disgusting.
All right, I'm gonna throw some gloves on and we're gonna tear the headliner out. It's gonna be absolutely disgusting. And I'm not looking forward to it, so let's just get it over with. So, cover up the leaks. They duct taped the roof because the holes rusted through. So there's duct tape everywhere to try and stop the leaks. It's pretty funny. See daylight through there and over there. All right, well, got some work ahead of us. The floors are not terrible, they're salvageable. This side, all this is gonna have to get cut out and redone, which means I have to assess the torque box once I get it opened up, but I'll probably cut along the tunnel. I'm gonna unspot weld this section, we'll take that out, we'll see what it looks like underneath there, but definitely this is all getting cut out. Probably right up into the corner there, across the firewall or kick panel. And then I'm gonna order passenger and driver side floor pans. And then the rears I'll probably just patch what's there because we got lots of good meat around where the rusty spots are. And then over there's not terrible, it's a lot of scale. A couple holes. Not awful, but not unexpected. Gonna be a good couple weeks of work to get this back to normal. But once we do, everything will be proper and it'll just be a paint job and putting everything back together. Got some exciting news today, which I'll share on the next episode. But for today, that's gonna do it. Tomorrow, we're gonna rip all that Bondo off the roof and continue stripping the car. Not really intimidated by any of this. It's just kind of like, yeah, it's what I expected. So I'm gonna clean up, roll the car in, and we'll get back at it in the morning. So see you then. And we're back. All right, so new day. Yesterday got most of the interior stripped out aside from the dash and the door panels. Today, first thing, I'm gonna dive right into it. I'm dying to see what it looks like. I know you guys probably are. We're gonna tackle getting all this Bondo chipped off the roof. So I'm gonna literally go at it with chisel and pry bars and a hammer and just knock away at it. Probably hit it from underneath to crack it up and see what the extent of the rust situation is. I can see holes like close to where the bend is in the roof and stuff. And then obviously right down the middle is where the most damage is. So we're gonna see how bad it is, and if it's salvageable, we'll try, but you know, realistically we're looking at probably just reskinning the whole thing. But sail panels I know are probably still good. I stuck a magnet on it last night and it's got, well, pretty good. So that's all the way to the end. So those are still good, but let's start hacking away at it. You can ignore that, I did that for the gram. But that's pretty torched. Look at this, right up here. This is the worst of it. That was, literally this panel has, look at the goop from the fiberglass resin. You can see they tried to glass it, but yeah. So that's gonna be a chunk of work, my friends. Looks like we're gonna be probably taking off this whole roof, but also have to investigate this, some of the channel bubbles, and you know, I'm assuming this is gonna be just as bad. So yeah, not unexpected, but you know, it's not awful. I mean, that might look awful to most people, but it's all metal. I can weld to it. Anyway, now that I've said that, it's gonna take a million years and I'll be stuck in paint gel and all that. Anyway, I'm gonna start picking at this. I'm not gonna bother, you know, there'll be a time-lapse thing. It's just gonna be a lot of chipping away at it and try and get as much strip back as we can. So roll tape. Alrighty, kind of gotten as far as I really need to. The skin is pretty torched. I mean, center section, we've got holes all the way out to the seam. Seems like the bend, the roof line here is okay, at least on that side. The magnet fully grabs all the way extended, so we've got good metal. We got good metal on the sail panels. I can see that from the inside. So probably what we'll end up doing is, as long as these channels are salvageable, which this one looked kind of questionable, but that's part of the roof. You know, I think it's gonna be a matter of this kind of cut, and then we're just gonna do the center section of the skin. As satisfying as it would be to chip off all the Bondo and all the scale and junk, it's not really necessary. It's gonna get cut off. So I'm gonna hold here for this. I'm gonna clean up the shop, just because there's no sense wasting time on it. I know where I have to go to in terms of cutting, and you know, we can't use the front part of the window channel, the windshield channel, so I mean, it's gotta get cut out. So for right now, I wanna continue stripping some other stuff, so I'm gonna clean up all this Bondo and chips and everything and make the shop nice, so we can start unbolting some things. I wanna get the bumpers off, a bunch of the trim. This might look freaky. This might look like, holy shit, what a pile. I'm actually really excited about this because this is one of those things where I get to get it down to being at 0 and we get to start again. So I'm stoked for that. Anyway, I'm gonna clean up and then we'll come back and start taking some other stuff off. Okay, more stuff coming off. I got the door panel covers out and the rocker trims off. Took off the trim around the windshield. There wasn't top piece obviously because it was destroyed, but took the side pieces out, and there's actually like stock paint under there, so it doesn't look like it's too cruddy. Also removed the rear window upper trim because it just screws into the sides here. Everything's a Phillips screw on this car, which is kind of fun. Underneath looks crusty but not terrible. Doesn't look like it's going all the way through. Probably the last thing I'll take off today, just because I'm running out of time here, is I'm gonna take the bumper off the front. So I think it's just all carriage bolts, and then I'm gonna pop it off and start kind of planning what I want to put in its place, or if I'm gonna do some sort of modification to the bumper. All the chrome's off the front. I'm pretty pleased with that. So pretty sure this will be for sale. I like that a lot better. So I've got an idea for a kind of a piece that I'll make a part of the lower valance that's gonna fill all that in. And then we're just gonna have like 2 simple bolt holes that'll cover up with rubber grommets on the front. And then I'll probably actually do a section here that follows the upper grill that we're gonna cut out, and we'll have a lower opening between the bottom of the valence and the top. So I'm stoked. That very verdict-like. For now, I'm cleaning up and get y'all back down here later. All right, it's the next day. It's actually pretty late in the day. Spent this morning kind of making lists and organizing my thoughts. You got to prioritize and take the right steps to keep everything moving. So took a few hours to do that. Ran out to grab some bins to organize any parts I take off, and got a new finger sander because I've been wanting one of those for a while. This is gonna be perfect for that. Yesterday, once I shut the camera off, I found a little bit more rust damage. I ended up taking off the scoop trim here. This all looks good on this side, and then we go down further, and the, of course, lower wheel arch is pretty toasted. But I did sand some back right here, and there is good metal, so we're gonna sand this back as much as we can today, find out where the rust stops, and make sure that we can get somewhere to weld a patch in there properly, and finish off the wheel, the arch seam. It's the same on the other side. Not the end of the world. I'm gonna get the grinder out and we're gonna see how far back we gotta take it. Found another massive hole, which looks like the car was actually shot at one point. That looks like a bullet hole for sure. I'm gonna pull this thing outside without a seat somehow. First, I'm gonna grind off where I need to make certain cuts. We're gonna grind around the lower areas of the wheel arch, and take it back to bare metal. Probably gonna give it a pressure wash underneath, get the chassis all clean, pull it back in, and we're gonna get the quick jacks under it on the pinch welds, and we're gonna get it ready to start tearing everything out, because this is our list next week. And it's gonna be a doozy. So basically I'm just kind of prepping it, getting it cleaned to do a major strip down and get it down to its bare bones. So let's get it outside, get it cleaned up.
Why is my blanket wet? What the hell?
Yeah, good enough. Oh yeah. Who needs a seat? Piece of Bondo just fell off the roof. Oh, I just realized I don't have a door handle or my keys. That was smart. Wouldn't be too bad to sit at this height. Maybe like 2-3 inches higher. Not bad, because my nose is right on the top of the steering wheel. That's my kind of optimal level. So like maybe here it'd be good. Can still kind of see everything. Still kind of see everything. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, let's pull it out. That is a solid finger width. All right, so obviously we got the rust damage down here, which I ground back all the way to metal, and you can see there's a huge lip of Bondo. There's like almost a 1/4 inch of Bondo on this whole panel, going pretty much all the way back to there. The magnet doesn't really stick on that side of the quarter panel, so pretty sure that's all been Bondoed over. And then in the groove here for the vent as well, it's all been puttied. Most people will look at this and be like, oh my god, this is a piece of shit, and like blah blah blah, but these are the kinds of things you need to expect with buying classic cars of any kind, really. I really don't know the accident history or anything on it, but obviously it's been clipped a couple times or just had some rust, whatever. The one big hole on the passenger side is like a big glob of fiberglass, like kitty hair. Was essentially
something somewhere in there. But this was like the wheel. This is the wheel arch, or the inner seam of the wheel well here. Again, 90s restored. Grinding away at it a little bit more. I kind of got to assess how far I'm going to go. Like the stuff that's bonded on the quarter panel, it's not hurting anything right now. There's no rust visible on the inside or coming down through the bottom. Seems to be structurally sound. You know, it might just be disgusting if it gets hit or something, and I don't want to be doing paint and body forever on this thing. It's meant to be together and light, which Bondo negates, but I just want it to be together and running and driving and solid. So barring finding any damage on the front end, I won't worry about the amount of Bondo on the quarters for now, because at the end of the day, if I wanted to, I could rework those quarters or tear them off and put new ones on. But we're not gonna be doing that on this phase. I'm not really not doing anything about it. I'm not ignoring it. I know it's there. But because it's not causing any damage at the moment, I'm not gonna touch it, because let's face it, it's going on power tour, it's gonna see some weather and shit, but like it's gonna be mostly a summer track car kind of deal. So, you know, I'm not bringing it out on salty roads and rain in the winter here. You grind a little bit more, tear a little bit more up, and then I'm gonna pressure wash the whole thing. All right, good enough. I'm gonna call that a day. Pull this thing back in. First, I'm gonna clean up the floor, get it inside, get it ready to go on jack stands. All right, guys, that is gonna do it for this episode. It's basically just tearing down what we can right now to assess how we're gonna go about tackling the sheet metal and getting the engine out and stuff, because I need all the weight out of the front to do the floors, to do the roof. I don't want anything like buckling the car. So basically, I'm gonna go through my list and kind of go point by point. We gotta get the motor out, then the sheet metal will show up. We can do the sheet metal. Once that's all done, we can start wiring the car, start cleaning everything, start putting everything back, et cetera, et cetera. It all comes in droves. It all comes in its turn. Really, like, not surprised by all this chaos, which you see, you know, the lower quarter panels and stuff obviously are pretty hashed, but that's minor stuff to me. I don't really care about the bodywork being perfect. It's just, it is what it is for now. The main thing is I want the structure to be sound, and I want the car to run and run hard. On the next episode, we will be pulling the motor and transmission and most of the suspension, whatever we can off the chassis. It's nice and clean now, I hope. I'll touch up anything on the weekend and make sure that it's ready to go for next week, where we're gonna hit it hard and tear this thing all the way apart and get it ready to modify. As always, guys, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you again for stopping by the shop. I hope your projects are going well. I hope the spring car season is treating you nicely. As always, be kind, drive hard, and once I'm done peeling Bondo off this thing, I will see you on the road. Have a good one.